So we are on the Gamescom 2025 and now having a look at the game Possible 1, and with me is...
Asaf Beitner, the CEO of Upstairs Games.
Okay, what is the game about?
So this game is the first colony management game that is totally realistic. This game is about the first industries on the moon, trying to show this process without any sci-fi shortcuts and just use the known technologies that are proven, limit ourselves to this and create something much more realistic that introduces the challenges of real space, which is really hard also to gamers.
Yeah, okay, I can guess that it's very difficult, especially to also make it fun at the same time.
Not necessarily. I think fun in games come from a challenge, and we discovered two things when we went to develop or even open this company that deals like with space games. We discovered that we have been so immersed in sci-fi, and I love sci-fi. Sci-fi is super inspiring, but people don't know real space anymore. So that's something that is super hard. There's no environment that is hard as real space. And in games, we are all the time looking for the hardest challenges. So we were kind of surprised no one ever did a game like this. Then we went into around 3 years of research, just understanding what can really be done in space and what's just wishful thinking. And we started developing this, and we saw that once we limit ourselves only to the real technologies that there are, then we are getting a game that is totally different than any space colony management game that was out until now. And I think it's a lot of fun. I mean, that's the responses we're getting so far.
I'm slightly reminded of a Kerbal Space Program from the perspective that it's like the first space simulation I've seen which actually had realistic physics. But of course this is not about flying, it's about base building, right? So what are we doing here?
So in here we're playing in the genre of colony management. That means we will place, order and make the player build and expand and conquer more and more of the Shackleton Crater's moon environment, and build a colony that will be industrial and will be as sustainable as possible, and introduce the hardship of space to players. Like if we would have done a medieval game, everybody knows that in a medieval game you will have a citadel, you will have a mill or something, you will have fields. Nobody really knows if you're going to the moon, what are the first steps you'll do in a colony on the moon. So this genre, with space colony genre, is a genre that helps us to show the entire picture and engage the player, of course, in all the stages and all the difficulties of this. What you're seeing now on the screen is like the early landing of the first vehicles. This is all autonomous, and the player is supposed to make like the very, very primal base for landings and for communication with Earth, and then it'll be safe enough and we will start bringing astronauts inside.
So what is that? What we are actually doing here exactly?
Yeah, so just like in every other space exploration, when you come to uncharted territory, you need to survey it and you need to make decisions about what can be done in this perimeter and what cannot. We have a scanner vehicle that is surveying the vehicle, and this actually exists also on Earth, of course. Before people are starting to build something, they need to know, is it flat enough, is it stable enough, what's underneath, do we need to clear it or not before we put our buildings on it. We're like taking a raw crater and creating an environment where you can build your structures. And
So I suppose this is something like a tutorial where we actually already get an area assigned where it says, okay, build it in this area, but maybe outside the tutorial we actually have to explore more freely where we want to build things?
Exactly. Like we are using the beginning of the game to let player understand what is a scanning of an area to determine if it needs extra work on it or not, and all the ordering and the the command systems. And once the astronauts, the real astronauts, are arriving, then it becomes much more loose and all that.
So the first thing we have built is the landing pad, and why do we need this? So far we have also landed without any.
Yeah, exactly. Now you got to remember this is an alpha version and also a version for a show. The real game will be harder, and if we land one lander on the moon and then we land another one next to him, the first one we put will be damaged by the dust that will fly from the landing of the second one. So if you build a landing pad, first of all, it's a completely leveled area, and then it deflects also like the fumes of the landing and doesn't damage the equipment that is next to the landing or something like this. And landing on the moon, in the past 3 years, so many vehicles, autonomous vehicles, landed and crashed because of uneven terrain. Because of that, we're just using these conclusions, and we know that landers could land on the moon in this situation. But if you want to land a rocket like the Starship rockets and stuff like this, then you will need a real land pad. To land like a vertical rocket, which is so unstable, if the ground is uneven, you cannot just do it without a landing pad. So this is one of this is the things that you learn when you really come to make a space colony.
So what is this? We have just launching a rocket with cargo, and so we have to decide which resources we get from Earth?
At the beginning, like, it sort of teaches you the system, and then you need to bring all your supplements and all that. Yeah, we have a land pad. Now we saw the first landing of a rocket, and this is the first base building, sort of a control center that has communication to Earth that is much more robust. And from now he could start really expanding the colony also with personnel, putting sophisticated buildings like a nuclear reactor and greenhouses and of course refineries and mining equipment that he's going to bring.
It's not going to be easy to bring all this to space, like from today's technology that would be hell of expensive because it's just a lot of weight, but you assume that it's going to scale and it's going to get cheaper.
Exactly, but also like the first vehicles that we are bringing to the moon are fairly small. The dozer, the Scout, the crane vehicle, all of them are like in the size of a small ATV or something. Like they are like half the size of a real car, and that's the price of the cargo. And in a way, it's flipped to the moon philosophy that the bigger and massive on the moon you are, the easier you are with the low gravity. But on the other hand, it's very expensive to bring big and massive things. That's why we bring small things. We start collecting resources, and we will build massive vehicles on the moon, but we will bring a lot of the machinery of these vehicles and of the structures from Earth still. Like, it's sort of a combination of what you are building on your moon and what you are supplementing from Earth. Like,
okay, so the first thing we built was a landing pad and then a hub. What is actually a hub?
the hub is like a center that has all the life support systems and the communication. And once you have the central hub, like it's the central command of the colony, we can start putting other structures connected to it. There's a corridor coming out of the hub, and is allowing people to, of course, go into the buildings without putting spacesuits and all that. This is just like the ISS actually, that it's a long structure that has models coming out of it. So this is like an ISS but on the ground in a way, the corridor systems. Of course our corridor is not only straight, and it will bend a bit because of surface conditions and stuff like this. You cannot just build linear like they are planning in Saudi Arabia.
So beginning the game told us that it's in the Shackleton crater where we are, which is an actual place on the actual moon. Is that really also modeled? Is it the true you know what I mean?
Three-dimensional?
Yes, it's like how it actually looks on the moon.
Oh yeah. The Shackleton crater model is a real model of Shackleton crater, and the reason we are going to Shackleton crater is because it's one of the most promising places for human needed resources like water. There are abundant amounts of water that accumulated in this place because of the infinite darkness it has. So the water never vaporized by sun rays or something like this.
So that's probably also what we are doing here right now, is getting our first water supply?
Exactly. The first mining mission will be to get the water supply. Afterwards, we are seeking for processing metals and starting to build the massive things that are needed on the moon and less shipments from Earth.
Okay, so yeah, you are building these corridors. You already explained that they're somewhat ISS-like, and then you connect all the buildings around. Yeah. And where do you place the buildings? Just where some space, or is there something like patches of resources or anything like that?
Okay, if Adrian will zoom in a bit for a minute. Adrian, zoom in for a minute, like scroll inside. So you could see that all the structures are actually sitting on these dark platforms, which are just sort of bases of hardened moon regolith that isolates the whole colony from the very problematic dust of the moon that is considered unhealthy, full of shrapnels, destroying machines, and also static, that it clings to things. So every one of the buildings we are putting is like sort of an island of solid material in a sea of dust. All of these things we are communicating to the player with audio and messages and explanations.
Seems like you put a lot of research into it, like how this would behave in the real world and how the effects would be.
It is because of the demand for it. Like when you play a sci-fi game or something that has shortcuts, then you immerse yourself with the fantasies of that specific creator and writer and all that. Here the writer is reality, and we want to transform as much as we can of it, of the problems and the issues and the challenges. So that's what makes our project different, and that's what excites us.
What are limiting factors for the game? Like in most games, it's like just money which limits you. What limits you here?
This is supposed to be like the biggest PvE, player versus environment challenge there is. The moon is very expensive to reach, so it's money. The moon is very, very hostile because of the moon dust, and first of all, because of the radiation. You need a lot of radiation protection. You are on the moon, so you are outside the Van Halen magnetic belt that really protects the people on ISS. This is really a scorching space, and all of the effects will be implemented on the astronaut NPCs that the player will put here. They will absorb radiation up to a point, If you're investing in more radiation protection, you could use them for a longer time. If not, you need to bring them to Earth, which is, again, very expensive. So eventually it's going to be a very challenging experience.
Do you have a certain goal with the game that you're trying to achieve as a player, or is it just make a bigger base?
Our goal is, first of all, to educate people about this thing that is called real space, and to change this form where no real space content coexists next to sci-fi. This should change because real space is so interesting, and we just want people to enjoy the challenges that such a game and such a genre can bring.
Okay, but and actually that's also a very interesting thought. But what I meant is, when you are playing the game, what is the goal that we have, like right now? I mean, in the beginning is obvious. In the beginning, the first goal is we need to get a water supply, then we need to get certain resources. But what is like our long-term goal?
The long-term goal, the long-term goal is actually the most interesting principle of the moon that nobody knows about, and it's that it's much easier to bring stuff to Earth orbit from the moon than from Earth. Once you have your base on the moon, to launch water resources, vegetables that you'll raise on the moon for the ISS or for space hotels, or even to convert the water we have on the moon into hydrogen and oxygen, which is rocket fuel, and then to send it to Earth orbit. And look, see there?
Deployment complete.
That is like our fuel station for rockets that come from Earth, refuel, and then can continue to the moon. This concept actually exists in the real world. There are companies like the company Planetary Resources that are saying that we can sell fuel made on the moon in Earth orbit. We can refurbish satellites that are just out of fuel and do a lot of things. Once you have this jumping board into Earth orbit from the moon, which is much easier. And when you play the game, you really feel it when you get to the advanced stages of it.
Okay, yeah, I think we have already reached a considerable length, and shall now slowly come to an end. Is there anything that we should still include, that we can still see, that you say don't miss it?
Nothing I can think of, just I'm saying it's gonna be big, it's gonna be super unique and different, and if anyone that loves space has been a bit frustrated or bored already from unlogical things and he wants just to see how hard it can be, then this is the address.
So I'm curious how it's going to eventually play out and how the community is going to react to it. So yeah, please leave comments about what you think about the game, whether you want to like to play it, and which state are you currently in, and when is it going to go for general availability?
We are still not sure if we will go to early access at around April, or we will go to a full release at the end of 26. But there is a big chance that we will release some kind of a short demo for people to taste this experience, because currently it's limited. People cannot play it. So hopefully, maybe if we won't go to early access on April, we will probably release some kind of a demo that people could experience.
Okay, then we are looking forward to that. And I thank you very much for your time. The last final question, as usual, maybe publish everything we have just recorded.
Yeah, no problem at all. And it was a great interview.
Thank you.